Commander Vrex looked out through the massive viewport of the Shadow Talon. Stars stretched before him like glittering prey waiting to be hunted. He ran a clawed hand over the scars that marked his gray, leathery face. Each scar told the story of a successful hunt, a trophy claimed. "Commander, we have detected signals from Sector 8970, said Sub-Commander Krell. He stood tall, but kept his 4 eyes lowered in respect. The signals match no known pattern in our database. Vrex turned slowly, his mouth forming what passed for a smile among the Krelak. New prey. Yes, Commander. A species that calls themselves humans. They inhabit a water-rich planet called Earth. The hunting chamber of the Shadow Talon was silent except for the low hum of engines. 12 elite Krelak hunters gathered around a 3-dimensional map showing the small blue planet. Their armored bodies cast long shadows in the dim red light, each shadow shaped by the trophies and weapons they carried. They look soft, said Varna, the only female hunter in the group. She pointed at the images of humans walking through what the Krelak now knew were called cities. No natural armor. No claws. Small teeth. Are they even worth our time? Vrex picked up a small metal object their scouts had retrieved from the edge of this new species territory. A simple probe with writing on its side. They have reached beyond their world, he said. They have basic space travel. That alone makes them worthy of consideration. Mako, the youngest hunter, stepped forward. Commander, I reviewed the scouts' report. These humans show unusual traits. They adapt quickly. Are you afraid, young Mako? Vrex interrupted. The other hunters growled with laughter. Mako lowered his head. No, Commander. I only suggest caution. The Krelak have hunted for 10,000 years, Vrex said. His voice dropped to a whisper that somehow filled the room. We have claimed trophies from the 6 armed warriors of Beton Prime. We hunted the telepathic giants of the Vorn cluster to extinction. The shadow cats of Rigel fell before us. He walked slowly around the map of Earth. And now you suggest caution because of these small, soft creatures. No one spoke. Good, Vrex said. Prepare the hunting parties. We begin in 3 cycles. Later, Vrex sat alone in his trophy room. The walls were lined with skulls, preserved body parts, and weapons taken from 100 different species. His personal collection was the largest on the Shadow Talon. Only the Great Hall on the Krelak homeworld held more. The door slid open, and Scout Leader Zex entered. She had been the first to observe the humans up close. You wished to see me, Commander. Your report mentioned something unusual about these humans. What did you see that troubled you? Zex hesitated. They are not like other prey, Commander. We watched a small group of them when their vehicle crashed in a remote area. Instead of fighting each other for resources, they shared. When one was injured, the others helped at their own risk. Vrex waved his hand dismissively. Many prey species have basic pack behaviors. There is more, Zex continued. One human was trapped under the vehicle. By all logic, the others should have left this weak member. Instead, they worked together to free him. They used tools in ways we had not anticipated. They adapted common objects into new purposes within minutes. Vrex stood and towered over Zex. Are you suggesting these humans could be a threat to us? No, Commander. But they may prove more interesting than expected. Vrex laughed, a harsh sound like metal grinding. Good. I tire of easy hunts. Let them surprise us. It will make the trophies all the more valuable. He turned back to his collection, already imagining where he would place the first human skull. Prepare the dropships. We begin with their outmost settlement, a small base on one of their moons. We will take a few specimens and learn their weaknesses. Zex bowed and left. Vrex picked up his ceremonial hunting blade. Humans, he whispered to himself. Let us see what you are made of. Lieutenant Kelly Rogers stared at the monitor on the bridge of the U.S. horizon. Something wasn't right. The patrol ship had been assigned to a routine mission near the Jupiter outpost, But the sensor readings kept showing strange blips that appeared and disappeared too quickly to track. "Sam, are you sure the sensors are working properly?" Kelly asked. Engineer Samantha West looked up from her station and frowned. "I checked them twice already. Whatever we're seeing is real." The bridge of the horizon was small but efficient, designed for a crew of 6, though they were running with only 4 on this mission. Security Chief Alan Peterson stood near the weapons console, his expression serious as always. At the communications station, Greg Martinez listened intently through his headset. "Lieutenant, I'm picking up something strange," Martinez said suddenly. "It sounds like, I can't even describe it. Not radio waves, exactly." Kelly moved to his station, put it on speaker. A strange pulsing sound filled the bridge. It wasn't mechanical or electronic. It sounded almost organic, like the beating of some giant heart. "That's not one of ours," Peterson said. His hand moved closer to the weapons controls. Before Kelly could respond, Martinez straightened up. "Lieutenant, emergency signal from Europa Research Station. They're under attack." Kelly didn't hesitate. "Set course for Europa, maximum speed." Peterson, "Ready weapons." Martinez, "Notify Earth Command." "Sam, I need full power to engines and shields." The horizon changed course, accelerating toward Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Kelly felt her heart racing, but kept her face calm. Her crew needed her to be steady. 20 minutes later, they approached Europa. The research station came into view, or what was left of it. The main dome was shattered, and debris floated in the moon's light gravity. No signs of life showed on the scanners. "My God," Sam whispered. There were 30 people stationed there. Something massive appeared from behind Europa. It was black and shaped like a claw, with strange glowing symbols along its hull. It was at least 10 times larger than the horizon. "What is that?" Peterson asked, his voice tight. Before anyone could answer, 3 smaller ships launched from the larger vessel. They were coming straight for the horizon. "Battle stations," Kelly ordered. "Martinez, keep trying to reach any survivors from the station. Peterson, target those approaching ships." The horizon shuddered as Peterson fired the main weapons. The energy beams hit one of the small ships, causing it to spin briefly before regaining control. "Their armor is too strong," Peterson shouted. The alien ships returned fire. The bridge shook violently. Sparks flew from the engineering console. "We've lost main power," Sam called out. Switching to backup systems. Kelly gripped her chair. "We can't win this fight. Prepare for emergency jump to Earth." Another hit rocked the ship. Martinez was thrown from his seat. As he tried to stand, a section of the ceiling collapsed, pinning him to the floor. "Greg." Kelly rushed to help him, but a blinding light filled the bridge. When she could see again, strange beings stood on the bridge. They were tall, gray-skinned creatures with armor made of bones and metal. 4 eyes stared from each face. They carried weapons unlike anything Kelly had ever seen. One of the aliens approached Martinez, who lay trapped and injured. It made a clicking sound that might have been language. "Get away from him." Kelly drew her sidearm and fired. The bullet bounced off the alien's armor. The creature turned to Kelly. Its mouth opened in what looked like a smile, revealing rows of sharp teeth. It raised a device that emitted a pulse of energy. Kelly felt her muscles lock. She couldn't move. The aliens grabbed Martinez and dragged him toward the light they had appeared from. "No." Kelly fought against the paralysis. She managed to move one finger, then her hand. Whatever they had used wasn't designed for humans. As the aliens disappeared with Martinez, the paralysis faded. Kelly staggered to her feet. "Sam, can we follow them?" Sam shook her head, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. "The jump drive is damaged. We can make it to Earth, but that's it." Kelly looked at the space where the alien ship had been. It was already moving away at incredible speed. "Then that's what we'll do," she said grimly. "We need to warn Earth." And then we're going to get Greg back. Commander Vrex circled Greg Martinez, who hung suspended in a containment field. The human's uniform was torn, and blood trickled from a cut on his forehead, but his eyes followed Vrex with defiance. "Your species is more resilient than expected," Vrex said. His voice translator turned his clicks and growls into rough English they had pulled from human broadcasts. "Most prey begs by now." Martinez spit at Vrex's feet. "We're not prey." Vrex laughed. "Everything is prey to the Krelak. For 10,000 years, we have hunted the stars. Your kind is simply the newest trophy." In another part of the Shadow Talon, Sub-Commander Krell studied the data from their first encounter with the humans. The small ship had managed to damage one of their hunter craft before retreating. "Unusual." "The human vessel escaped," Varna said as she entered the room. Fresh blood stained her hunting armor, human blood from the Europa station. Krell nodded. "Commander Vrex is not concerned. He says it will spread fear, make the hunt more exciting." Varna moved closer to the display. "I'm not so sure." These humans reacted quickly. They fought well for such soft creatures. "You question the commander's wisdom." Krell's 4 eyes narrowed. "I question taking any prey lightly," she replied. "That is how hunters become the hunted." Back on Earth, the damaged U.S. Horizon limped into orbit. Emergency crews rushed to meet them as they docked at the space station. Lieutenant Kelly Rogers stood before General Frank Daniels in the station's command center. Her uniform was still stained with blood and soot, but she stood straight as she delivered her report. "They took Greg. They just appeared on our bridge and took him," she finished. The general studied the sensor data from the horizon. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his fingers tapped nervously on the table. "And you're certain they were not human?" he asked. "Yes, sir. Gray skin, 4 eyes, at least 7 feet tall. Their technology is beyond anything we have." The Europa station. Kelly looked down. "No survivors, sir. They took bodies. Like trophies." The door opened, and a woman with short gray hair entered. "General, we need to move quickly," she said. "Lieutenant Rogers, this is Dr. Lisa Miller, our top xenobiologist," the general said. Dr. Miller nodded at Kelly. "Your sensor data matches reports from the Neptune mining colony. They were hit 6 hours after Europa." "Neptune 2. Kelly felt sick. "I've analyzed the attack patterns," Dr. Miller continued. She pulled up a holographic map showing the solar system. Red dots appeared at Europa, Neptune, and several smaller outposts. "They're testing our defenses, moving inward from the outer colonies." "They're hunting us," Kelly said quietly. Dr. Miller looked at her sharply. "Exactly. Their behavior matches classic predator patterns." "So what do we do?" the general asked. "We need information," Dr. Miller said. "We need to understand what we're facing." Kelly stepped forward. "Sir, I want to lead a team to rescue Martins and gather intel on these hunters." "That's suicide, Lieutenant," the general said. "With respect, sir, we captured some of their technology from the bridge when they took Greg. Dr. Miller's team might be able to use it to get us onto their ship." Dr. Miller looked intrigued. "It's possible. Their teleportation technology seems to leave a quantum signature we might be able to track." The general frowned. "Even if you could get on board, how would you find one man on a ship that size?" Before Kelly could answer, alarms blared throughout the station. A communications officer rushed in. "Sir, we're picking up multiple unknown craft entering Earth orbit." The general turned to Kelly. "You have 48 hours to put together a team and a plan. If we're being hunted, it's time we show these aliens that humans know how to hunt too." Kelly nodded, her mind already racing through potential team members and strategies. One thing was certain. The Krelak had no idea what they had started when they took Greg Martinez. In his cell on the Shadow Talon, Martinez worked quietly. When the guards weren't looking, he had managed to pull a small piece of metal from his boot. The aliens hadn't recognized it as a tool. Their mistake. As a communications officer, Martinez knew systems, and he was already figuring out the patterns in the ship's control panels. The hunt had begun, but the hunters didn't realize they had brought a predator on board. Kelly stood before her team in the small preparation room. There were only 3 of them besides herself. Jack Collins, a sniper with cold blue eyes who rarely spoke. Olivia Nelson, who could build explosives from almost anything. And Eric Howard, a former Special Forces soldier who moved like a ghost. "This is what we know," Kelly said, pointing to the holographic display of the Shadow Talon. Dr. Miller's team had pieced it together from sensor data. The ship is 5 miles long. Martinez is likely being held in this section where they keep specimens. Specimens, Olivia repeated with disgust. "These aliens see us as animals." Jack checked his rifle. "Let's show them the animals bite back." Dr. Miller entered the room carrying a small device. "This will track the quantum signature from their teleportation technology. It should get you onto their ship, and hopefully back again." "Any word from the defense fleet?" Eric asked. Kelly shook her head. "They're holding the aliens at bay, but we've lost 3 more ships. We don't have much time." They prepared in silence after that, each checking their weapons and equipment. The plan was simple. Get on board, find Martinez, steal any useful data about the hunters, and escape. "Ready?" Kelly asked finally. The others nodded. Kelly activated the device. The world around them shimmered and disappeared. They materialized in a dark corridor. The walls looked like polished bone, with strange symbols glowing faintly. The air smelled of metal and something else. Something wild. "We're in," Kelly whispered. She checked the scanner Dr. Miller had given her. Martinez's tracking signal is coming from 2 levels down. They moved quietly through the ship, hiding whenever they heard the heavy footsteps of the hunters. The Krelak were confident in their security. They clearly weren't expecting anyone to invade their vessel. After 20 minutes of careful movement, they reached a large chamber. Inside, transparent containers held creatures from a dozen different worlds. Some were alive, watching with terrified eyes. Others were being dissected on tables by Krelak wearing ceremonial armor. "There," Eric pointed. In the far corner, Martinez was strapped to a table. A Krelak stood over him with a sharp tool. Before Kelly could form a plan, Jack fired. His shot hit the Krelak in the eye, one of the few spots not covered by armor. The alien fell with a roar. "So much for stealth," Olivia muttered, throwing a small explosive device. It detonated, filling the room with thick smoke. The team rushed forward, firing at any Krelak they could see through the smoke. Kelly reached Martinez and cut him free. "Took you long enough," he said with a weak smile. His face was bruised, but he could stand. "Can you walk?" she asked. "Better," he said. "I can show you where to hit them. I've been studying them. They have weaknesses in their communication system." Alarms blared throughout the ship. The escape would be harder than the entry. "This way," Martinez directed them to a control room. "We can download their ship schematics and hunting records. It might help Earth understand what we're facing." While Kelly and Martinez gathered data, the others fought to keep the entrance secure. Krelak warriors fired strange energy weapons that melted the walls around them. "I've got it," Martinez called, holding up a small data crystal. Just then, Eric cried out. A Krelak energy blast had caught him in the leg, burning through armor and flesh. "We have to go now," Kelly shouted. She helped Eric while Jack provided covering fire. Olivia set the last of her explosives. "This should buy us time." They activated the return device just as Commander Frex himself entered the chamber, roaring with rage at seeing his prey escape. The world shimmered around them once more. They materialized in the preparation room on Earth. Medical teams rushed forward to help Eric, whose leg was badly damaged. "Did we get it?" General Daniels demanded, entering the room. Martinez held up the data crystal. "Everything. Their ship layouts, their hunting records, their communications protocols. And I learned something important while I was their guest. These Krelak, they've never been beaten. Not once in their history. They don't know how to lose. The general took the crystal. Then we'll have to teach them. Dr. Lisa Miller studied the alien data crystal. The information Martinez had stolen revealed a history of conquest that spanned thousands of years. The Krelak had hunted and collected trophies from over 300 species. They're not just hunters, she explained to the gathered military leaders. They're ritual hunters. They follow specific rules. Kelly Rogers leaned forward. Rules we can use against them. Exactly, Dr. Miller nodded. They consider themselves honorable. They never use planetary bombardment. They prefer to hunt on the ground, face to face. And most importantly, they always give their prey a chance to fight back. General Daniels frowned. That's their idea of honor, toying with their victims. To them, the hunt is sacred, Dr. Miller said. And there's one more thing. They've never been defeated, not once in their recorded history. On the main view screen, reports came in from across the solar system. The Krelak had begun a full assault on the Mars colony. Thousands of civilians were trapped there. We need to evacuate Mars, a colonel suggested. No time, General Daniels said grimly. Their ships are blocking all escape routes. Kelly stood up. Then we make our stand there. We use what we know about them against them. The team arrived on Mars 12 hours later. The red planet's landscape was scarred with battle marks. The main colony dome had been breached in several places, and emergency shields were failing. Kelly met with the Colonial Defense Force in an underground bunker. Olivia Nelson had been working with the colonial engineers, developing new weapons. I studied the armor we recovered, Olivia explained, showing them a new rifle design. It's strongest against energy weapons, but vulnerable to certain sound frequencies. These rifles emit both a bullet and a sonic pulse. Martinez, still showing bruises from his captivity, had been working on communications. I've set up jammers that mimic their own ship signals. It should confuse their hunting parties. Jack Collins had already picked his spot, a high ridge overlooking the main approach to the colony. They like to hunt. Let's hunt them back. The first wave of Krelak hunters landed as Mars' pale sun rose over the horizon. They moved with confidence, expecting easy prey. Instead, they found empty buildings rigged with traps. From his hidden position, Jack picked off 3 hunters in the first minutes. The Krelak, unused to being ambushed, roared in confusion and anger. Kelly led a small team that darted between buildings, using the terrain to their advantage. The Martian gravity, lower than Earth's but higher than the Krelak were accustomed to, slowed the aliens down. They're adapting, Martinez warned over the radio. Second wave incoming. The battle for Mars lasted 3 days. The humans suffered heavy losses, but they made the Krelak pay for every inch of ground. Olivia's sonic weapons proved effective, disrupting the hunters' coordination. On the 3rd day, a massive Krelak ship appeared over the main colony. Commander Vrex himself led a hunting party to the surface. I want the female leader, he growled to his warriors. The one who invaded our ship. Her skull will have a place of honor in my collection. But Kelly was ready. She had studied their hunting patterns and knew Vrex would come for her personally. She set a trap in the colony's water reclamation plant, using the maze-like structure to her advantage. When Vrex entered, seeking his trophy, he found himself separated from his warriors. Kelly appeared on a platform above him. You wanted me, she called out. Here I am. Vrex laughed. You show courage, human. It will make your defeat more satisfying. Kelly smiled. There's something you should know about humans, Commander. We don't play by the rules. She pressed a button on her wrist. The floor beneath Vrex collapsed, plunging him into a pool of freezing water. The Krelak's armor, designed for combat, weighed him down. He thrashed, unused to swimming. Kelly didn't stay to watch. She had already moved to the next phase of the plan. As Vrex's warriors rushed to save their commander, Olivia's explosives detonated around the colony perimeter. For the first time in their long history, the Krelak were forced to retreat from a hunt unfinished. And for Commander Vrex, the shame was unbearable. The human female would pay for this humiliation. The Shadow Talon retreated to the outer solar system. Inside the massive ship, the Krelak Council of Elders had arrived. 7 ancient hunters, their bodies covered with so many trophy scars that little original skin remained, sat in judgment of Commander Vrex. "You failed to complete the hunt," said Elder Kraz, the oldest among them. "This has never happened in our history." Vrex stood before them, still damp from his humiliation in the water trap. "The humans are not like other prey. They adapt. They use our own methods against us." "Excuses," hissed Elder Morda. "You underestimated them. Now they believe they can defeat the Krelak." "Give me another hunting party," Vrex demanded. "I will bring you the female leader's head." The elders looked at each other. Finally, Elder Kraz nodded. "One more chance, Commander. But we will observe this hunt personally." Back on Earth, the victory at Mars had given humanity hope. General Daniels addressed the United Earth Forces. Representatives from every nation had gathered to form a defense alliance. "For the first time, the Krelak have tasted defeat," he said. "But they will return, stronger and more determined. We need to take the fight to them." Kelly Rogers stepped forward. "We've analyzed their retreat pattern. They'd withdrawn to Saturn's orbit, likely to regroup. This is our chance to strike." "What do you propose, Lieutenant?" the general asked. "A trap," Kelly said simply. "They hunt by ritual and pattern. We'll give them what they expect, but with a surprise." Jack Collins had developed a plan to infiltrate the Shadow Talon alone. While the Krelak were focused on the main human fleet, he would use a stealth ship to plant tracking devices throughout their vessel. "They won't expect a single human," he explained. "Their hunting culture focuses on group prey. One human won't register as a threat." Olivia Nelson had been working with Dr. Miller on a new weapon. "We've developed disruptors that target their neural systems," she explained. "Non-lethal, but it will disorient them enough to give us an advantage." Greg Martinez, now recovered from his captivity, had the most dangerous job. "I'll broadcast a challenge to Commander Vrex. Their honor code won't let them refuse." 2 days later, Jack's small stealth craft approached the Shadow Talon. The massive ship sat in Saturn's rings, using the ice particles to mask its energy signature. The human fleet was still a day away, giving Jack time to complete his mission. He slipped into the ship through a maintenance hatch. His time as a prisoner had taught Martinez about Krelak ship design, knowledge he had shared with the team. Jack moved silently through the vessel, placing tiny tracking devices at key locations. In the trophy hall, he paused. Hundreds of skulls from various species lined the walls. Some were obviously sentient beings. Jack placed an extra tracker here, disgusted by the display. As he turned to leave, he came face to face with a young Krelak. Both froze in surprise. The alien was smaller than the warriors, probably not yet of hunting age. It stared at Jack with 4 wide eyes, then opened its mouth to call an alarm. Jack raised his weapon but hesitated. The young Krelak closed its mouth. It looked at Jack, then at the trophy wall, then back at Jack. Slowly, it stepped aside. Jack nodded once and slipped past. Some things were universal, even between predator and prey. The young sometimes saw what the old could not. Meanwhile, the human fleet approached Saturn. On the bridge of the lead ship, Kelly watched the ringed planet grow larger on the view screen. Martinez sat at the communications console, preparing his message. "Ready?" Kelly asked. Martinez nodded. "Broadcasting now." His voice, translated into the Krelak language, echoed across space. "Commander Vrex, this is Greg Martinez of Earth. You failed to take my head as a trophy. Now we come to take yours. The humans challenged the Krelak to face us in the rings of Saturn. Unless you fear us now." On the Shadow Talon, the elders listened to the message. They turned to Vrex, who stood rigid with fury. "They mock us," he snarled. Elder Kraz leaned forward. "Then let us show these humans what it truly means to face the galaxy's greatest hunters." Saturn's rings glowed in the pale sunlight. Ice particles and dust created a beautiful but dangerous battlefield. The human fleet spread out, smaller ships darting between the larger vessels. They were outnumbered, but thanks to Jack's tracking devices, they knew exactly where each Krelak ship was positioned. Kelly stood on the bridge of the U.S. Horizon, now repaired and upgraded with technology derived from captured Krelak weapons. Olivia had done impressive work adapting the alien tech to human ships. "All ships in position," Martins reported. "The neural disruptors are ready." Kelly nodded. "Now we wait for them to make the first move." They didn't wait long. 3 Krelak hunting ships emerged from the rings, followed by the massive Shadow Talon. The alien vessels were impressive, sleek, deadly, and covered with the bones of their victims as decorations. "They're hailing us," Martinez said. Commander Vrex's face appeared on the view screen. His 4 eyes narrowed at the sight of Kelly. "So the prey thinks it can become the hunter," he said. His translator made his voice sound like rocks grinding together. "You surprise me, human. No species has ever challenged the Krelak to battle." "We're full of surprises," Kelly replied. "That's what makes us dangerous." Vrex bared his teeth in what might have been a smile. "The elders are watching this hunt. When I bring them your head, I will be elevated to their ranks." "There's something you should know about humans," Commander Kelly said. "We don't fight alone." She cut the transmission and turned to Martinez. "Now." Martinez activated the neural disruptor broadcast. The tracking devices Jack had planted began emitting signals designed to interfere with Krelak neural patterns. On the Shadow Talon, warriors stumbled and fell. Some fired weapons at shadows, others froze in place. But Commander Vrex and the elders were protected in a shielded chamber. Vrex roared in fury when he realized what was happening. "Launch all hunting parties," he ordered. "Destroy their fleet." The battle for Saturn began. Human ships darted through the rings, using the ice and rocks as cover. The Krelak, partially recovered from the neural attack, gave chase. Energy weapons cut through the vacuum, melting ice into steam clouds that provided more cover. On the Shadow Talon, Jack's final gift activated. The ship's main power systems suddenly shut down, leaving only emergency lighting. The young Krelak who had let Jack pass stood in a darkened corridor, watching warriors rush past in confusion. It had seen Jack plant the device but had chosen not to alert anyone. The smaller human ships targeted the hunting vessels with precision, using the tracking data to hit vulnerable spots. 2 Krelak ships exploded in brilliant flashes. Elder Kraz watched from the council chamber. "This is unprecedented," he said to his fellow elders. "The prey has become the predator." "Vrex has failed again," Elder Morda said. "The humans use our hunting methods against us." The battle raged for hours. The human fleet suffered losses, but the Krelak were taking heavier damage. The Shadow Talon, systems partially restored, began to retreat. "They're running," Olivia shouted. "Not all of them," Martine said, pointing to a single hunting ship heading straight for the horizon. "It's Vrex," Kelly said. "He's coming for me personally." The Krelak ship smashed into the horizon's shields. Both vessels shuddered from the impact. Teleportation energy flickered, and suddenly Commander Vrex stood on the bridge with 2 elite warriors. "No more tricks," Vrex growled, drawing a ceremonial blade. "Face me, human." Kelly stood. The bridge crew raised weapons, but she waved them down. "This is what he wants. A final hunt." Vrex nodded. "You understand. One hunter to another." "I'm not a hunter," Kelly said, drawing her own knife. "I'm a protector. That's the difference between us." They circled each other. Vrex was stronger, with natural armor and claws. But Kelly had spent weeks studying Krelak physiology and fighting styles. The commander lunged forward, his blade slicing the air where Kelly had been a moment before. She rolled under his arm and struck at a gap in his armor Martinez had identified, a nerve cluster near the spine. Vrex roared in pain and spun around, faster than Kelly expected. His blade caught her arm, drawing blood. The Krelak warriors watching chittered in approval. "First blood to me," Vrex said. "Your skull will look perfect on my wall." Blood dripped from Kelly's arm, but she didn't take her eyes off Vrex. The Krelak commander circled her, confident in his victory. The bridge crew watched in tense silence. "You fight well for prey," Vrex said, "but you are still prey." Kelly didn't respond. She was watching his movements, looking for patterns. Every predator had them. Vrex attacked again, his blade slashing in complex patterns she couldn't fully track. Kelly ducked and weaved, taking small cuts but avoiding deadly blows. She was tiring. The Krelak had more stamina, more strength. "Now you understand," Vrex said. "This is the natural order. The strong hunt the weak." Kelly stumbled, falling to one knee. Vrex moved in for the kill. "That's where you're wrong," Kelly said. As Vrex lunged, she pressed a button on her wrist device. The gravity on the bridge suddenly shifted, increasing to twice Earth normal. Vrex crashed to the floor, unprepared for the sudden weight. His warriors fell too, their armor now a burden. Kelly, who had trained for weeks in high gravity, rose to her feet. "Humans aren't the strongest species. We never were. But we adapt." She kicked Vrex's blade away and placed her own knife at his throat. "We study our enemies. We prepare. We work together." On the view screen behind them, the rest of the Krelak fleet was in full retreat. The Shadow Talon, its systems compromised by Jack's devices, moved sluggishly away from Saturn. "Kill me," Vrex growled. "It is the way of the hunt." Kelly stepped back. "No, that's your way, not ours." The gravity returned to normal. Vrex rose slowly, confusion in his four eyes. "Take a message to your elders," Kelly said. "Humans aren't your prey. We never will be. But we don't need to be your enemy either." The doors to the bridge opened, and Dr. Lisa Miller entered. She carried a data tablet. "The translation is ready," she said to Kelly. Kelly nodded and turned back to Vrex. "We found something interesting in the data we took from your ship. Records of another species beyond the galactic core. One that your kind fear." She showed him the tablet. Vrex's eyes widened as he read. "The Void Eaters. You know of them." "We know they're coming," Kelly said. "And neither of us can face them alone." The Krelak warriors looked at each other. For the first time, uncertainty showed in their posture. Elder Kraz's voice came through Vrex's communicator. "Commander, return to the Shadow Talon immediately." Vrex hesitated, then sheathed his blade. "This hunt is not over, human." "No," Kelly agreed. "But perhaps it's changing into something else." After the Krelak left, the bridge erupted in cheers. The human fleet had achieved what no other species had done before. They had forced the mighty hunters to retreat. 3 days later, Kelly stood before the Earth Defense Council. General Daniels nodded to her as she approached the podium. "The Krelak have withdrawn from our solar system," she reported. "Their Council of Elders has proposed a meeting to discuss terms." "Terms?" someone asked. "They're the ones who attacked us." Kelly nodded. "Yes, but now they respect us. For the first time in their history, they've met a species they couldn't simply hunt and mount on their walls." "And the Void Eaters?" General Daniels asked quietly. "A threat to both our species," Kelly said. "The Krelak have been running from them for centuries. That's why they're always hunting, always moving." The council chambers fell silent as they considered this new information. "So what happens now?" a counselor finally asked. Kelly looked at her team. Jack, Olivia, Greg, and all the others who had fought beside her. "Now we do what humans have always done best. We adapt. We take these hunters who have terrorized the galaxy and make them our allies." 6 months later, a new ship launched from Earth's orbital dock. The U.S. Alliance was the first vessel built with combined human and Krelak technology. Its mission: to explore the galactic core and assess the Void Eater threat. As the ship broke orbit, Kelly Rogers took her place on the bridge. Beside her stood a young Krelak officer, the same one who had let Jack pass during his mission to the Shadow Talon. "Ready for a new kind of hunt, Lieutenant?" Kelly asked. The Krelak touched the Earth insignia now displayed alongside the hunter's mark on its armor. "Ready, Captain." Together, Predator and Prey turned their eyes toward the stars.